I'm sure you heard Sheldon Keefe call his team immature on Saturday night.
Yeah.
I mean, that's quite the statement with 33 games to go and you're on the outside of the playoffs looking in. But I think it's fair. I mean, I think he's talking about the circumstance, right? Down in Florida with the bye week coming up.
Yep.
They've just played some really, really poor games.
Well, now they're, whatever the record is and all that, they've given up over 40 goals in Andersen's last 12 games. Like, they're not winning anything with that. It doesn't matter. They can paint whatever picture they want and talk about the free flow game and the way the game's changing and Keefe's new style. But when you give up 40 goals in 12 games, you're not beating anybody.
Doesn't that shock you the most, Ray? Like, it's okay, like, score goals, like, be aggressive and creative, but how do you think that can work in any league? I have no idea.
Well, and don't you think that's kind of his point? Is like, hey, guys, like, and when he says that they're an immature team, it's like, okay, we're all having fun, we're all scoring here, but we realize this isn't going to help us, right? So I don't have any problem with him saying that. I mean, first of all, we critique guys when they say nothing, and then we critique them when they have a comment that's got a little bite to it. But if he was off base, then, or you thought he was way out to lunch, then you got lots to chew on there. I'm like, he's kind of right. But he's also left out a significant part to it, too, and that's like, no matter how they say it, their defense just is not good enough.
Yeah, and I find that weird too, Ray. They'll lose 8-6 and the next day and I mean, my philosophy is if you don't know how to play in your own end, by the time you're in the NHL, you got a big problem. Lose 8-6, it'll be a skill development. It's like, don't you want to kind of go over what you're doing in your own end?
Well, I would love to play when they had music on in practice, and I would love to go out with the skill development coaches, but eventually, I don't know how much you can keep, how you balance that with what you're talking about, Like, they clearly have work to do, but can they do the work with the personnel that they have? And that's really, I think the most valid question is, okay, look at that defense. And how is that going to beat anybody in their division? Like, how are they going to get by Boston and then Tampa? I did the game in Winnipeg on whatever night that was, Sunday or something or other.
Yeah.
I don't know, whenever I was in Winnipeg.
Yeah, you and I were texting.
Oh, my gosh, they just shredded them in that game. Like, they shredded Winnipeg, and I'm watching it and thinking about the Leafs, and I'm like, that Tampa team is really good. And at the back, for half the game, they've got either Hedman or McDonough on the ice. And McDonough's not Hedman, but holy man, that's two pretty good guys to split the left side of the ice up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it's obviously not going to change between now and the end of the year with personnel. They're not going to make 3 or 4 trades.
No, but do you not, sorry to interject, but I think there's one trade to be made that, that could have serious impact. And what I mean by that is it's not going to be a core guy, but it's going to be somebody on the fringe. And I know everyone's floating Janssen or Kerfoot or Kapanen, but if that's a reality, you could get a very good player back for one of those players.
Well, just pick a defense, like go around the league and look at the same salary, right? And go, okay, what defenseman could you get for 3-2 or 3-4, if that's the money going out? And you're getting into some pretty good players. Like, look at the teams that aren't going to be buyers, the ones that are going to be sellers. There's 4 or 5 in the East, or and then both the same in the West, and you could probably find a deal relatively easy. I mean, we could. It's still not Kyle Dubas. Like that, it's a lot harder to make the deal, but we could make a dollar for dollar deal relatively easy. The one complication, I guess, is had Mikheyev not been hurt, it would have been way easier to conjure up a Janssen or a Kapanen deal because you'd have Mikheyev too.
Yeah, that might factor in, but at some point it's become inevitable. It doesn't matter who the coach is. Like, Babcock's watching this probably saying, I knew this was the case. I mean,
Right. Yeah, you're not wrong.
now it's not like Babcock would have them in any different position today, and I'm not suggesting revisionist history. That was a move that had to take place. But Babcock kept hammering home the same thing. It wasn't skill. It wasn't talent. It wasn't goaltending. He's like, we got to defend here. And now Sheldon Keefe's been playing here for 30 games, and he's saying the exact same thing with a different wording.
Don't you find it shocking, though? Like, you can actually teach somebody how to play defense. You can't teach them how to score the goal or get odd man rushes.
But are they willing to do it? That's the difference.
The coach's job is to make them do it. End of story.
You're right, but
That's his job.
But
there's one other thing: are they able to? Like physically, are they able to? I'm begging the analytic community to not tell me how good a job Cody Ceci's doing. Like, I'm begging them.
Oh, good luck with that one, buddy.
Yeah, don't give me any more numbers about his shot share and his expected goals. And he's a $5.5 million sixth defenseman.
You know what my expected weight loss is from January 1 till now?
+3.
Pardon?
+3.
Yeah. No, I was supposed to lose 14 pounds by now, and you're right. It's probably +3. So that's where my expected weight loss is.
But so my point is, like, how are they going to get that? Like, you're not eliminating Cody Ceci, and, like, no team's taking that contract to make them better.
No.
So how are you possibly, like, how can you possibly coach up players when, as he plays higher up the lineup, and I'm just using him for an example, he gets overrun, right? So he does better as a third-pair defenseman. But that's $5.5 million. So that leaves you with, right now, they got Dermott and Hall playing against the other team's best line.
Yeah.
How's that going to work?
Yeah. And by the way, don't you agree that's where Ceci should be? Like, he's a third-pairing guy, and he's $5.5 million.
If you could erase his contract and there were no numbers tied to him, you go, he's a decent third-pair guy.
Yeah.
Don't have a problem. But he's making $5.5 million. And they're a team that, got their butts up against the cap. They got very, very little flexibility. They got a backup goalie they don't want to play. They've got a defense that is porous.
Yeah.
So the strength, the depth, maybe the duplication of players might be up front, and it might be the Kapanen, Kerfoot, Janssen grouping. It might be one of those guys.
Well,
it might have to be.
You're right. Here's what I was thinking, and maybe this is where the organization is at. When Morgan Rielly went out and Jake Muzzin was out, there was only 3 games until the break. And I was kind of saying, you know what? They got to be patient. Just relax. Let this play out. You were going to play against New Jersey, Calgary, and Chicago. Probably should have had 4, at least, maybe 5 or 6 points. Didn't go so well. They got 3 of 6. But you have to think in Kyle's mind, he's looking at the way the group limped into the break and said, okay, something has to give here. Because I'm sure he was preaching patience to say, okay, we're going to plug in Sandin. We're going to give Liljegren a peek. We're going to, move some players around. We're going to ask Dermott to play more. We're going to see if Hall can come up the lineup. Like, all of these different scenarios. And it may have been masked if your goaltender makes a few more saves.
I wonder if that's what they're really going to be saying behind the scenes. Like, basically, you give me 20% save percentage.
Right, but
we're not losing.
I'll be honest, though. All that is masking, because I look at other teams that just get average goaltending, and they don't have to rely on that goaltender night in and night out. I know he's a star. I think he's a star. But
he's one of the best goalies in the league.
I agree. But all I'm saying is that when you're looking at top-tier teams, they don't seem to have that glaring hole in that defensive core. And right now, injuries, you can have the excuse train with Muzzin and Rielly, but other teams are going through it. Ray, you just talked about Winnipeg. Dustin Byfuglien just handed Chevy a bag of garbage the day before the season. Like, he didn't do anything wrong, Chevy.
Right, but Hellebuck's pulling his weight there.
Correct.
And they're still on the outside looking in.
Right.
Where, it's been such a roller coaster season. And
Right.
everyone knows.
For a lot of teams going up and down.
Yeah, not just the
Absolutely.
Leafs.
Not just the Leafs. Everyone knows the Leafs defensive play. If you know anything about the game and you watch it long enough, you're like, these guys are well below average. Like, and that's going to burn you at some point. You can't win a
Right.
cup like that.
Right.
But
Well,
in terms
doesn't
of
that beg the
isolating-
question, why are you trying to do it during the regular season? Because what the hell's going to happen in the playoffs? You play St. Louis for 7 games. You think that's going to work?
I don't think it will.
Washington?
No, I don't think it will. But let's get there, and then they can
Right.
figure it out.
I don't believe in the flip switching or
But
whatever.
there's nothing you're going to do now anyway. You're not turning over half your roster.
Well, I was
between now
talking
and
about the
April
evaluation
15th.
of the team. Like, if Kyle believes there's a trade to be made to upgrade a certain area, he may now do it based on what he's seen, trying to be patient.
It feels that
if
way.
that makes sense.
Yeah, it wouldn't be surprising if he made a deal.
And
if we
can-
heard something.
And you can ask a guy to care a little bit more on his own end. Brian Rafalski, he was a good player. Small, skilled, like Tyson Berry. It's not like he was running around the ice totally disregarding his own zone.
Well, that's who they are right now.
Right
I don't
now,
know what else
and
to say.
it doesn't look great just because of the way they ended, too, right?
Yeah, but I guess the other point to this is the expectation really is, considerably higher than it might be for another team. And that's probably what got Gerard Gallant fired in Vegas. When the expectations rise so high, if you don't meet them, it feels like it's a disaster. But as it stands, finishing out of the playoffs is a disaster
Yep.
for this team.
Yep.
Yes.
And as we're talking today, they're out of the playoffs. Florida's got 2 games in hand. So give them 3 points, not 4. Like, say they get a win in an OTL, right? Now they got a little bit of a lead. And you're like, ew. Because I think they're in Chicago next.
And Ray, don't you
Florida's
find
actually
this
in
part of
mini
the-
tonight.
you
Florida's
guys-
playing in mini tonight.
Didn't you guys find that this next 30 games goes real fast? Like it's gone like
Well,
that.
and the scary part about it is everyone plays each other now. And those are the 3-point, 4-point games.
The Leafs have 3 games against Florida.
Exactly.
Like, that's
There's
it
your
right
point,
there.
Brian.
You go 3-0-0, you're back.
Right.
You're in.
Yeah, different story. You're
Yeah.
right.
But you go 0-3-0, you're not.
That could be the
They're
difference.
gone. They're
Yeah.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're right.